So apparently LAFC have now signed another striker. They have just recently signed Christian Ramierz, aka Superman from Minnesota United. And as I read the report here, they are going to give Minnesota up to 1 million in allocation money, 250,000 of general allocation money in both 2018 and 2019, and they will give 100,000 TAM to Minnesota in 2018, 200,000 TAM in 2019, and up to 200,000 in future allocation money if depends on the player performance. And I gotta say, this is a shocking move. And I'm kind of very surprised this move actually happened, and in some way I'm kind of confused of why this move had to happen. I mean, there's been rumor that lately that maybe Christian Ramierz is on his way out of Minnesota and that he potentially could join LAFC. But when I heard this move, I just don't get why do LAFC need Christian Ramierz. They already have three strikers in this team. They already had Marco Arena, they already have Diego Rossi, they already had Diamande. I mean, they're pretty stacked in the striker department, so why in the world do they need another striker? And the only kind of logical thing I'm thinking that LAFC might do is that they're going to dump one of their striker. And most likely, from what I heard reports, Marco Arena might be the one that LAFC might be getting rid of him because of the fact that he is not performing as the way that they think that they will, which is crazy to say. I mean, this was a guy that I said a couple of weeks ago, and you probably also heard about this, is that he is considered one of the most important pieces for this LAFC team. Now, granted, he isn't really scoring goals, and he isn't really doing what a striker should be doing, which is scoring goals, but he is very good in terms of holding up play and setting up play, and he is probably one of the main reasons why Vela and Rossi was so good in the early part of the season, because he was the guy that developed those plays for both of those players. And once Orania suffered that injury and once he went to the World Cup, you saw how big of a miss that was. And you saw how Diego Rossi really struggled. I mean, Vela is still kind of performing, but that's because he's Vela. But you saw how Rossi really struggled and he couldn't really find the ball into the back of the net because Orania is not giving him the service. So I don't understand why do they need to get rid of him and bring in Christian Ramierz for that. And the other thing is, I'm pretty sure Minnesota fans are absolutely fuming about this move. And, you know, Christian Ramierz is considered a fan favorite at Minnesota. And, you know, despite the fact that he's not having the best of the season, you know, a lot of Minnesota fans still love him. And, you know, the way that he's been with that club ever since the NASL days, you know, I was surprised that he would even be considered letting go in any time of this period or even in the future. But yet the Minnesota front office decided to cut ties on that. And when you let go one of your fan favorite player, you know the fans will not be happy. And I'm pretty sure the fans are not happy about the ownership and the front office. And this is not the first time this is happening to Minnesota with their fans not happy with the front office. Remember, in the beginning of the season, their front office has already said that they are not going to spend money. They're just going to wait out the process. They're just kind of try to develop kind of how they can figure out in the long term. And they only finally signed their first DP literally about a year and a half into their existence in MLS. And now that they decided to get rid of all their fan favorite, you know, this definitely does not go well for them. And it's a big loss to Minnesota too, because now you are really heavily relying on Darwin Quintero. And as much as Darwin Quintero has been just absolutely amazing right now, he can't be the only guy that is heavily relied on. I mean, besides him, who else you have? Abu Denladi, who's not having a very good season because he just came back from an injury, and Kevin Molino is still injured and he's out for the rest of the season. So you are basically relying on Quintero, and if he wins down, then you are screwed in the number 9 position. And I also think that I have also heard Minnesota fans are upset about Adrian Heath in terms of this deal. because Adrian Heath is one of the reasons why Ramierz is probably having a bad season. I mean, the amount of times that he had let him out of the starting 11 and the amount of times that he is not really given Ramierz time to play on the pitch is kind of quite shocking. And in many ways, he has really kind of killed the confidence of Christian Ramierz. And I'm maybe thinking that maybe that has also something to do with the fact that Ramierz wants to leave Minnesota because of the fact that he's not getting minutes that he should deserve and that he needs to go somewhere else to do it. But overall, when I look at this deal, I'm kind of confused for both parties. For LAFC, I don't know why they do need another striker. They're already very stacked in the striker department. I mean, heck, I don't think the striker position is the position that they worry. I think it's the least that LAFC need to worry. I mean, with how Dio is doing right now, ever since he become an LAFC player, he has just been phenomenal. And unless if he had suffered an injury, which I believe he did not, if I actually heard about it, I would have kind of mentioned it, but he's not injured, and you also got a couple of other strikers that you can potentially be lined up if Dio does went down. It just makes no sense of why in the world do they waste that kind of money to sign another striker. I mean, I think the money that LAFC should have probably spent is the midfield and also probably the goalkeeping position, because let's just say that the goalkeeping position and Tyler Miller has not looked very decent so far, and also the midfield, you know, with Mark Anthony Kay now out of the season, you would think that maybe they need another replacement for him. And I know they obviously have Andre Horta there, but still, I kind of feel like they probably need another replacement for that, and yet they decided to sign a player that plays in a position where they are already stacked. And as for Minnesota, you know, getting rid of a fan favorite is obviously not gonna be likable for the fans, and I'm pretty sure the fans are absolutely fuming about that, and they pretty much not only want Adrian Heath out of that management job for Minnesota, but they also want the front office to get out of their club. But either way, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this move? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.